An interesting thing to consider: the deepest pain in life rarely comes from enemies. It comes from people close enough to betray us. This night shows what love looks like when walking away would be easier. It is late. Jerusalem is quiet now, but the air is heavy with tension. Shadows stretch across narrow streets as Jesus walks with his disciples toward a garden they visited many times before. Gethsemane, an olive grove just outside the city walls. Familiar, peaceful, ordinary. And yet, this night is anything but ordinary. Jesus knows exactly what is coming. This is not surprise pain, this is chosen pain. Earlier that evening, they shared a meal together. Bread was broken, wine was poured. Jesus spoke words his disciples didn't fully understand yet. About his body, his blood, a covenant sealed through suffering. He washed their feet, even the feet of the one who would betray him. That matters. Because love didn't stop when betrayal was already decided. As they enter the garden, Jesus grows quiet. His pace slows. He turns to most of the disciples and says, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." Then he takes Peter, James, and John, his closest friends, just a little farther. Even Jesus didn't want to be alone in this moment. The weight presses in now, not physical pain yet, but something deeper, something heavier, the kind of anguish words struggle to hold. Jesus tells them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." This is raw honesty. The Son of God doesn't pretend strength. He doesn't hide his anguish. He invites others into it. Then he steps away. He falls to the ground. And he prays. Not a polished prayer, not a confident declaration, but a desperate cry from the depths of his humanity. "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me." This is the moment we often overlook. Jesus is not rushing toward suffering. He is not numb to it. He feels the fear. He understands the cost. But then he speaks the words that define this night, and everything that follows. "Yet not my will, but yours be done." This is love in its purest form. Not emotion, not comfort, not convenience. Obedience when escape is possible. Jesus returns to his disciples, hoping perhaps for comfort. They are asleep. Not once, not twice, but again and again. In the moment he needs them most, exhaustion wins. And still, Jesus does not shame them. He warns them gently. He prays again. He chooses again. Each prayer is a surrender. Each moment is a decision. And somewhere nearby, another choice is being made. Judas is moving through the darkness. One of the 12. One who walked with Jesus. One who heard the teachings, witnessed the miracles, shared the meals. He knows exactly where Jesus will be. That familiarity becomes the weapon. Torches appear in the distance. Footsteps, voices, the sound of armor and authority cutting through the quiet of the garden. The moment has arrived. Jesus wakes his disciples. "Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." Think about that. Jesus does not run. He does not hide. He does not resist. He steps forward. Judas approaches him, close enough to touch, close enough to whisper. And with a kiss, a symbol of friendship, he betrays him. In that instant, everything could change. Jesus could call angels. He could expose every lie. He could end it all. Instead, he speaks. Friend. Not enemy, not traitor. Friend. Even in betrayal, Jesus chooses love. And that choice will echo through the rest of the night and through history itself. An interesting thing to consider, betrayal hurts most when it comes from someone you trusted. And fear often spreads faster than truth. What happens next shows how love responds when everything falls apart. The soldiers move in quickly. Hands grab, voices shout. The calm of the garden shatters in an instant. One of the disciples reacts without thinking, fear turning into action. A sword flashes in the darkness, steel cuts the air. An ear falls to the ground, chaos erupts. This is the moment everyone expects Jesus to fight back. Instead, he speaks again. "Put your sword away." And then, without hesitation, Jesus reaches down, picks up the severed ear, and heals the man sent to arrest him. Let that sink in. In the middle of betrayal, in the middle of injustice, in the middle of violence, Jesus restores. He heals the enemy. Not because the man deserved it, but because love refuses to become what opposes it. Jesus looks at the crowd, armed, angry, convinced they're in control, and asks, "Am I leading a rebellion? You come with swords and clubs as if I were a criminal. I was with you every day in the temple, and you did not arrest me." They have no answer, because this isn't about justice, it's about fear. And as the pressure rises, the disciples begin to do what fear always pushes people to do when things get dangerous. They run. One by one, they scatter into the darkness. Promises made just hours earlier dissolve in seconds. Loyalty collapses under threat. Even Peter, the loudest voice of confidence, follows at a distance. And that distance matters, because fear doesn't always make us leave completely. Sometimes it just pulls us far enough away to deny what we know is true. Jesus is led away, alone, bound, accused, silenced by false witnesses, dragged through the night from one authority to another, mocked, spit on, struck, and while this is happening, Peter watches from the shadows. A servant girl recognizes him. "Aren't you one of his disciples?" Peter denies it. Another voice, another question. Again, he denies it. A third time, stronger now, more confident, he swears he doesn't even know Jesus. And then it happens. A rooster crows, just as Jesus said it would. In that moment, Scripture tells us something devastating. Jesus turns, and he looks at Peter, not with anger, not with condemnation, but with knowing. Peter remembers everything, the promises, the warnings, the confidence that failed under pressure. And he breaks. He runs away and weeps bitterly. This is the weight of the night: betrayal from a friend, abandonment by followers, denial by the closest companion. Jesus is left with nothing except love. And here's the truth we can't ignore: Jesus knew every single one of these failures would happen. He knew Judas would betray him. He knew Peter would deny him. He knew the others would run. And still, he shared the meal. He washed their feet. He went to the garden. He chose the cross. Because this night was never about who stayed faithful. It was about how far love would go. The night continues, long, cold, relentless. But every step Jesus takes is intentional, not forced, not accidental, chosen. And the question this moment leaves us with is uncomfortable but powerful. If Jesus chose love knowing he would be betrayed, what does that say about how he loves us? An interesting thing to consider. The truest measure of love isn't how it reacts to loyalty, but how it responds to betrayal. This final moment reveals why this night changed everything. As dawn approaches, the night refuses to loosen its grip. Jesus stands before authorities who have already decided the outcome. Truth is twisted. Silence is mocked. Justice is absent. And yet, Jesus does not defend himself, not because he is powerless, but because this was never about escaping pain. It was about absorbing it, every insult, every lie, every blow. Jesus endures it willingly. The disciples are gone. Peter is broken, Judas is drowning in regret, and Jesus stands alone. This is the part of the story that's easy to rush past, but it matters deeply. Because this is what love looks like when there is nothing left to gain. No applause, no recognition, no followers cheering him on. Only obedience, only surrender, only love that refuses to stop. Jesus could still walk away. Roman law allowed it. Divine power made it possible. At any moment, he could end the suffering with a word. But he doesn't. Because walking away would mean leaving humanity behind. This night proves something unmistakable. Jesus did not go to the cross because he was trapped. He went because he chose us. The betrayal didn't change his mission. The denial didn't weaken his resolve. The abandonment didn't cancel his love. In fact, it revealed it. Because love that survives betrayal is love that cannot be destroyed. Think about what this means. Jesus knows what it feels like to be betrayed by a friend. He knows what it feels like to be abandoned when it matters most. He knows what it feels like to be misunderstood, falsely accused, and left alone. Which means when you experience those moments, you are not unseen. You are not unheard. You are not alone. This night answers a question many people carry silently. What does God do when I fail him? The answer is not withdrawal, it's pursuit. The cross begins here, in a garden where love could have walked away but didn't, where obedience outweighed fear, where grace moved forward knowing the cost. And that is why this night matters. Because Christianity is not built on human loyalty, it is built on divine love. A love that kneels to wash the feet of betrayers. A love that heals enemies in the act of arrest. A love that looks at deniers with compassion instead of condemnation. A love that chooses the cross, fully aware of the pain it will bring. The night Jesus was betrayed is not a story about human failure. It is a story about unstoppable love. Love that holds steady when everything falls apart. Love that remains when everyone leaves. Love that carries us even when we don't deserve it. And the final truth this night leaves us with is simple, but life-changing. If Jesus chose love, then he chooses it still. Not because we are faithful, but because he is.